Ah, my dear, my darling. Come closer. Sit here with me for a moment. You know, life sometimes resembles those old sewing boxes of our grandmothers, doesn't it? Full of threads, mismatched buttons, needles, and deep down, always a secret. Something we don't immediately understand. Today's story is about something similar. It's about a son, a father, and an inheritance that seemed small, seemed simple, but as God often does, the greatest treasure was hidden in what the eyes judged to be the least important. The story is about Tiago, and it begins on a grey day, one of those days when the rain is fine, but soaks the soul. It had been a week since his father, Sir Matias, had passed away. Sir Matias was a man of few words and calloused rough hands, a carpenter, a man who smelled of cedar and honesty. Tiago, his only son, was now in the lawyer's small office, next to his mother, Dona Elvira, who was wringing out a cotton handkerchief in her hands, her eyes lost in thought. Tiago was numb. The pain of loss was still an unwelcome visitor, sitting at the table and saying nothing, but weighing down the air. And along with the pain, my friend, came worry. Ah, worry. Tiago had recently married Anna. They had a young son. And the bills? Ah, the bills don't wait for the morning to pass. They arrive. Tiago worked in an office, but his salary barely covered rent and groceries. He secretly confided that perhaps his father, such a hard-working man, had left them some savings, something that would give them a breather. The lawyer, a serious man with round glasses, cleared his throat. He read the simple will for Dona Elvira, the house where they lived, the boarding house, and for Tiago. The lawyer paused and searched under the table. He lifted a heavy, dark wooden box with metal corner pieces, already dulled by time. For my son, Tiago. The lawyer read, I leave what I value most, my tools. May he learn from them the value of building something that lasts. Tiago felt breathless. It wasn't a safe. It wasn't a plot of land. It was a toolbox. He picked it up. It was heavy. The smell of oil and old wood filled his nostrils. He looked at his mother. Dona Elvira forced a sad smile. It was his life, my son. Take good care of it. Tiago swallowed hard. He thanked her. He left the office carrying the box that seemed to weigh a ton. Not because of the metal, but because of the disappointment. He loved his father. He loved him. But my God, what would he do with hammers and chisels? He wasn't a carpenter. He needed money for his son's milk. That night, he placed the box on the small balcony of his apartment. The moonlight hit the worn metal. He felt like a man who receives stones when he asks for bread. James's faith that night was a short fuse, almost extinguished in the smoke of his need. How? How could that toolbox be the answer to his problems? How could that be the most valuable thing his father had? The silence of that night was the first page of a long desert he would have to cross. Days, my dear, turned into weeks, and weeks into months. So Matias's toolbox was still there, on the porch. Sometimes Tiago would open it. He would run his fingers over the worn wooden handles. Polished by decades of his father's sweat, he felt the weight of the hammer, the cold blade of the saw. It was like touching his father's hand. It brought a painful longing, but it didn't pay the electricity bill, which already had its second disconnection notice. Tiago tried hard. He worked double shifts at the office, but the exhaustion only increased, and the money seemed to evaporate. Anna, his wife, a strong woman, started making cakes to sell. The smell of vanilla and chocolate mingled with the smell of anxiety that hung in the house. Dona Elvira, his mother, helped as much as she could, knitting socks to sell at the market. But it wasn't enough. That small apartment was becoming a pressure cooker. Tiago prayed. Oh, he prayed. but his prayers seemed to hit the plaster ceiling and bounce back. God, I'm not asking for wealth. I silently asked my father for help, and he left me. Tools. What are you trying to tell me with this? That I failed. That I'm not as hardworking as he was. There were days when Tiago felt anger. Anger at his father. Why didn't he teach me the trade? Why didn't he leave me something useful? He thought, and immediately felt guilty. His father, Matias, was a good father, a present father, but he was a silent father, a man who spoke more to the wood than to people. Tiago felt like he was walking in circles in a very dry desert. His faith was being tested in the furnace of daily need. You know how it is, my dear. It's easy to have faith when the table is full. But what about when the cupboard is empty? What about when the future is a dark fog? Tiago was in that place. He looked at his son sleeping in the crib and felt small, useless. His father's tools, there in the corner, seemed to laugh at his inadequacy. He tried to sell the tools. He even took them to an antique dealer. The man looked, scratched his chin, and offered a pittance. They're common tools, young man. Good, but common. Tiago felt a lump in his throat. He took the box back, apologized to the man, and left. He couldn't sell it. It was the only thing. The last thing. He was trapped between desperate need and respect for a memory that offered no sustenance. The desert was getting hotter and the water of hope scarcer. He didn't know it, but he was being prepared. The waiting was forging something in him, something money can't buy: patience. But for now, all he felt was the taste of sand in his mouth. Change, when it comes from God, rarely arrives with trumpets, my friend. It arrives in whispers, in details. It arrives on a Saturday afternoon, when the rain started falling outside again. Tiago was penniless. Anna had gone out to deliver a cake order, taking her son with her. The house was silent, a heavy, oppressive silence. Tiago looked at the toolbox. He felt a sudden urge, not to use them, but to clean them. It was a way to connect with his father, perhaps to ask forgiveness for the anger he felt. He took a soft cloth and some linseed oil that his mother used on the furniture. He opened the box, the usual smell. He picked up the first chisel, the blade still sharp. He cleaned the handle. He remembered when he was a boy and saw his father making wood shavings that looked like bunches of wood. He cleaned the hammer, the level, the plane. It was a slow, meditative job, almost a ritual of mourning and reconciliation. The box was deep. It had a double compartment at the bottom, something he had never noticed before. He pulled a small leather strap, and the false bottom popped up. Beneath it, there was no money, no jewelry. There was only one piece, a single piece of metal that didn't look like a tool. Tiago picked it up. It was heavy, made of darkened bronze, but still with a stubborn sheen. It wasn't a hammer, it wasn't a screwdriver. It had a strange shape, almost like a thick gear on one side, and a short, intricate handle on the other. It was robust, but at the same time, it had a delicacy in its carvings that so Matias didn't usually use in his common tools. Tiago turned it over and over in his hands. It was cold. It had no maker's mark. It seemed to be something handmade, perhaps by Matias himself. But what for? What was it good for? He tried to fit it onto some old screws. It didn't work. He tried to use it as a paperweight. It was clumsy. He asked his mother when she arrived. Donna Elvira looked at the piece. Her eyes narrowed. "Ah, my son. I don't know. Your father lived in his workshop at the back of our yard. He had his things. He called it the project. But he never showed it to me. He said it was a surprise." Tiago kept the information. The project. And now, this piece, this tool that wasn't a tool. It wasn't an answer. It wasn't money. It was, in fact, another question. A mystery. He placed the bronze piece on the dresser, and every night, before going to sleep, he looked at it, that nameless object, that piece of metal that seemed to hold a secret. What was it after all? The desert wasn't over yet, but Tiago felt that perhaps there was a different stone in the path. Life continued its hectic routine. Tiago now, besides carrying the weight of the bills, also carried the mystery of that bronze piece. It became an object of his daily attention. He cleaned it. Carefully, he applied a metal polish. And as the dark enamel of years wore away, something appeared. A small symbol, engraved with a precision that Tiago couldn't imagine his father possessed. It was 2 letters, O and M, Matias workshop. Perhaps, but it looked more like a coat of arms. This unsettled him. If the piece had a symbol, it belonged to something. One day, Donna Elvira called him. The old house where she lived with Matias needed some repairs, so they could rent it out and get some money. Tiago went there. His father's old workshop in the back was exactly as he had left it. The smell of sawdust still lingered in the air, like a good ghost. Tiago began rummaging through the drawers of the old workbench, looking for screws, and then he found it. It wasn't money. It was a notebook. A hardcover notebook, black in color, stained with grease. Tiago's heart raced. He recognized that handwriting. It was Matias's careful, almost drawn calligraphy. He opened it. The first few pages were work notes. Measurements of cabinets, door budgets, common things. But from the middle to the end, the tone changed. The notes became diary entries. Today I tested the new varnish. The rosewood arrived. And then a sentence. The master workshop is almost ready. It only lacks the key. Tiago froze. He flipped through the pages, his hands trembling. And on the last page, he saw it. A drawing. A detailed technical drawing, made with ruler and compass. Of the bronze piece. Exactly that one. And below the drawing, the note. The master key. The M is not for Matias. It's for master. And right below, an address Tiago didn't recognize. It was in an old industrial neighborhood, a part of the city that everyone said was abandoned. Tiago ran home. He grabbed the bronze piece from the dresser. He placed it next to the drawing in the notebook. They were identical. The useless tool, the mysterious piece. It was a key, but a key for what? What was the master workshop? His father, a simple carpenter, with an ornate bronze key and a secret address. Hope, my friend, is a stubborn thing. It's like a seed in the asphalt. It finds a crack, and for the first time in months, Tiago didn't feel the weight of the desert. He felt the adrenaline of discovery. He had a key, he had an address. The next day, he would discover which door that key opened. That day dawned differently. Tiago barely slept. He took the bus early. The address led him to the old industrial zone, a place of factory skeletons, broken cobblestone streets, and silence. He held the bronze key in his pants pocket. Its weight was comforting. He found the number. It was disappointing. An old warehouse made of dark bricks, with broken windows upstairs and a large steel door, painted a peeling blue, covered in graffiti. There was no name, no sign, just the number. Officina Mestra, he thought. It looked more like an abandoned hideout. He approached the steel door. There was a common rusty lock. He looked around. Nobody on the street. He took out the bronze key. Obviously, it didn't fit in the common lock. It was too big, the wrong shape. Tiago's heart sank. Had it all been a mistake? A fantasy of his father's? He pressed his forehead against the cold door, closing his eyes. "Dad!" What is this?" He looked again at his father's notebook, the drawing, the OM symbol. He looked at the door, and then he saw it. Beside the door, on the brick wall, was a small metal panel, almost imperceptible, covered in the same peeling blue paint. On it, almost erased by time, was the same symbol. OM. It wasn't a lock. It was a mortise and tenon joint. With trembling hands, Tiago wiped away the dust. He picked up the bronze key. It didn't turn. It snapped into place, like a puzzle piece. He pushed it. There was a sound, a click, metallic, dull, deep, and then a loud creak, like a giant waking. The large steel door trembled, and slowly, with a clanking of dry gears, it began to slide aside. It wasn't a pull door, it was a sliding door. James took a step back. A crack of darkness appeared, and from within came a smell James knew, but different. It was the smell of wood, yes, but not just cedar. It was rosewood, it was maple, it was mahogany, it was the smell of fine varnish, of artisan glue. He pushed the door just enough to get through. He entered the dim light. He looked for a light switch on the wall. He found it. The yellowish tungsten lights flickered and came on. My dear, my darling. Tiago fell to his knees. What he saw wasn't a workshop. It wasn't a factory. It was a sanctuary. It was a world-class atelier. The shed was immense inside, and it was full. On one side, hanging on velvet supports, were dozens of guitars, classical guitars, folk guitars. Each one was a work of art. The finish was perfect. The wood shone. Tiago didn't understand music, but he understood beauty. On the other side, shelves, but not with tools, with wall clocks, cuckoo clocks, pendulum clocks, all hand-carved with a complexity he had never imagined. And in the center, a huge workbench. On it, an unfinished violin and a letter. The envelope simply said, "For Tiago." He opened it, his father's handwriting. "My son, if you are reading this, it's because you found the key, and because I hope you were ready. These tools in your box, they are ordinary tools, yes, but they are the tools that they built all of this. I wasn't just a carpenter, Tiago. I was a luthier, a craftsman. I worked 2 jobs my whole life, the carpenter to pay the bills, and the craftsman to build your future. All of this is yours. It's your inheritance. I didn't give you the fish. I gave you the net and the whole lake. The tools are for you to learn how to maintain. The key was for you to discover the value." Tiago cried. He cried like a child. He didn't receive a toolbox. He received the legacy. The secret factory wasn't a factory. It was his father's heart and the key. The key was proof of that love kept secret. You know, my dear friend, the story of Tiago and so Matias touches me very deeply. How often do we look at the inheritance we receive? And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the tools that life and that God give us. Sometimes it's a literal toolbox, like Tiago's. Sometimes it's a gift that we consider small. It's our mother's patience. It's our father's honesty. It's the ability to cook, to listen, to organize. Tools that seem ordinary, and we look at them in the middle of our desert, in the middle of our bills to pay, and we ask, God, why did you only give me this? I need a miracle, and you gave me a hammer. We become frustrated. We feel small. We think God gave us stones. But the lesson from So Matias is the lesson of the Heavenly Father himself. God always hides a key among the common tools. He gives us daily work, effort, routine. But at the bottom of the box, under the false bottom of perseverance, he places a bronze key, a key that seems useless, A talent you've never used. An unexpected encounter. A word you heard and didn't understand at the time. An idea that seems absurd. And this key, my friend, this key opens a door that no other opens. It opens the master workshop. It reveals the true plan. James needed to go through the desert. He needed to feel the pain of need. He needed to learn to clean his father's tools, to honor the simple legacy. Before he was ready to discover the extraordinary legacy, he needed to value the hammer before he could inherit the violins. God was preparing his heart. What seemed like abandonment was preparation. What seemed like silence was God working in the secret shed, preparing his inheritance. And you? I want to talk to you now. Look at your life. Look at your toolbox. What have you received? What do you have in your hands that seems small, ordinary, perhaps even useless compared to the size of the problem you face? Have you ever stopped to look at the bottom of that box for the master key? Maybe it doesn't look like a key. Maybe it just looks like a strange piece of metal. But I assure you, it's there. God wouldn't give you the tools without giving you the key to your true purpose. I really want to hear from you. Use this space in the comments. Tell me. What was the tool in your life that you disregarded, but that later turned out to be your greatest blessing? What was the key that God hid in simple things for you? Let's share our stories. Your story of faith may be the light that someone needs today to find their own key. If this story touched your heart, if it warmed your soul, leave a like on this video. And if you enjoy hearing these stories of faith, which remind us how God works in the details, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next conversation. May God bless your tools, and may He give you the wisdom to find your key. Peace be with you.